Two Onesies, a podcast of one season, wonders, blunders, and 60th anniversary specials. My name's Andrew,
My name's Emily.
and we are back talking about the 1992 ABC.
Is that why I feel like shit? Because we
That's why you feel like shit. We're going to talk about going to extremes. We are
no.
not, folks. Sorry. We are going to be talking about the second of three Doctor Who 60th anniversary specials. This one is the Wild Blue Yonder, once again written by Russell T Davies, once again starring David Tennant and Catherine Tate,
Yay.
and no one else.
And no one else this episode. Well.
Well,
Well.
well, once Emily's got the hankies out, we'll talk. But yeah, so this is the last episode ended on the cliffhanger of them spinning out of control because of course they did. And here we find them an indeterminate period later, as it always is with Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Opening in 1666, where Emily is going to speak for 72 minutes from her 6-hour YouTube video about how Isaac Newton being portrayed by a man with a suntan has ruined English history, and she's boycotting Disney, BBC, David Tennant, Catherine Tate, and Gravity, frankly. Please start, Emily.
Yeah, so what's his name? Nathaniel Curtis. I can't spell. Yes, Nathaniel Curtis portrays Isaac Newton. He is a person of color. He was in little not little known, I guess, if you're a British TV fan. He was in It's a Sin, which is what Russell T Davies one series show about the AIDS epidemic in the 80s in London. It was fantastic and wonderful and heartbreaking. But he plays Isaac Newton, again, a person of color. He's of Indian descent, I believe. He's beautiful. He's beautiful, and he plays Isaac Newton. An apple falls on his head, and then the TARDIS falls into the apple tree. And the Doctor realizes where they are and who he's with. And there's some funny quips between the Doctor and Donna. Oh, did you set this to famous? You know, the Doctor spoils Isaac Newton, calling him Sir Isaac Newton. He has not developed his theory of gravity yet. And Donna makes a stupid joke, and then they're off back into the time machine, but leaving Isaac Newton to wonder what that wonderful word was that they just said. Cavity, cavity, ravity.
No gravity, just straight mavity.
Yeah. Which is, I'm just assuming, a setup for the next episode where the celestial toymaker does something with gravity on Earth, or, you know, it's just some goof. Because then the Doctor and Donna land on a giant spaceship, or what they soon find out is a giant spaceship. And after that interaction, there are 2 times, maybe 3, where Donna refers to mavity.
Yes.
Meaning that their little interaction with Isaac Newton changed the course of history, even in that just small, tiny way of it not being called gravity.
Yes. So, that feels very much like a special thing. Like, It feels like a bit out of they could have, you can see that as being the promos if this had come back on BBC, right? They're visiting various people. If the British weren't so overpopulated with shitty white men, they could go through various famous British characters or something, right? Like, because that's not really a thing we see a lot in Doctor Who. We don't see minute changes to the time stream having grave a humorous consequence later on.
Yeah.
Um, that's a very American handle on it. Though we will hopefully get to talk a little bit about how the Doctor Who revival is basically adding Strum and Drang to a children's show character. But yes, so they crash land as the TARDIS crash lands, which it means it spins into existence somewhere. And the TARDIS is a time machine in the way an iPhone is a phone. It seems
Yeah.
like especially since it shows agency this episode, and it has it decides where they go and for what. And this episode, the reveal at the end is the TARDIS drops them into this situation for no good reason.
Hmm.
The TARDIS is basically a brat, a troublemaking brat. And that was always kind of the thing is that, so I started watching Doctor Who. God, did I start it before lockdown or was that just during lockdown? I think it was just during lockdown.
Wow.
So yeah, so I'm a newbie to Doctor Who because even though Emily for years was just telling me about how great and how hot one of the doctors was,
David Tennant,
um,
right? David Tennant.
no,
Yeah.
no,
Don't you
I
dare
no,
bring Matt Smith into this. Don't you dare.
we might need to mention him later. But I always expected them to do something with the TARDIS. Like the TARDIS is less of an entity in a way than the DeLorean. Certainly less than it. It's about as it's more per. I don't know what the right word is. It's more of a character. We'll just say it's more of a character than say Luke's X-wing and probably more than the Millennium Falcon, but not a lot more, right? Like, we don't
Yeah.
know how the TARDIS works. And the other thing is, the Doctor doesn't know how the TARDIS works. And this episode will later reveal it's a problem that you only have the brake really far away from the door if
Yeah.
you're going to have to kick out villains.
Yeah.
So it the show in being Doctor Who reveals just how weird it is to an outsider
Yeah.
because you know besides you who only got into this because of the incredibly handsome um
Charming.
Matthew Ismay. Why are you flipping me off? Oh, gross. Don't kiss your finger like it's Matt Smith's wrinkly face. um just gonna need to get a sticker for that on your screen. But I mean, a lot of people watch this. I mean, it aired daily as a kids serial in the UK. Everybody I've talked to who watched the old series in the US basically watched it when they were living single in the 70s and they got home from their shitty job and they watched Doctor Who and ate Campbell's chicken soup while they were broke.
That
It's
sounds
basic.
perfect. That sounds like a perfect life.
Based on what I've seen of the old Doctor Who, that's about the only way you could watch it.
Oh, it's so
Oh,
good.
anyway, um, I'm off track already, but this was about the TARDIS. But basically, the TARDIS is broken already because Donna threw coffee in. So the Doctor turns it on refresh mode and puts the sonic screwdriver in, and off it goes.
Yeah.
Because
It
it turns,
disappears and they don't know why until the doctor remembers again this fake science that it's equipped with something that makes it disappear if there's a battle about to happen. And that this is my favorite part is again it's the fake science but also him like just guessing. He's like, I turned it off a long time ago, but I wonder if in the reboot it's just turned itself back on and it'll come back as soon as the threat is gone. I wonder. Hmm.
there's another part in this where it's just like, hey, we're moving on with the plot now.
Yeah.
So yes, they go out and they explore this giant spaceship, where they are walking along the vessel, through. in front of green screen after green screen, I imagine.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I saw some behind the scenes.
Okay.
But it's massive. It looks like it goes on for ever and ever and ever.
And they come across a robot who is called Jimbo. Um,
Who they call Jimbo. I
who
don't.
they call Jimbo.
Yeah.
So another thing about Doctor Who that, as an outsider, has always, I don't know if Emily's going to ever comment on this. Despite traveling the universe, there's always something new and gigantic and enormous that the Doctor can encounter every episode and be like, well, I never knew that before.
Yeah.
And you're just like, but you said you knew like he speaks 57 billion languages, except for the one on this ship.
Yeah, that was something that I found kind of funny that the TARDIS wasn't translating for Donna, and Donna just assumed that the TARDIS translated. No, Donna didn't assume. Donna just assumed that the Doctor knew all of the languages, and then he tells her how many languages he knows, and it's not the one not the robot that is being spoken throughout the ship by, again, systems. It's not by any living creatures.
Yes.
I found that kind of funny too. But there's a conversation that happens kind of sprinkled throughout, where the Doctor's like, yeah, I know everything except for the million things I don't know. Like,
And that has all
hello. It was
that
so funny.
was an aspect of the David Tennant Doctor Who where it was sort of, because these are in the UK, they are family entertainment. There is sort of a didactic aspect to some of the doctors encouraging of education and things like that. Like, it doesn't necessarily always feel like it doesn't feel like an after school special, but the doctor wants you to be skeptical and use your noggin,
And learn lessons, yeah.
and learn lessons,
And not use fisticuffs.
because he's going to abandon you and you're going to be traumatized the rest of your life, which is the other subplot of Doctor Who. So there was somebody in the credits whose name was Sarah Jane, and I just got sad about how what's her face died before she ever got to come back, and the only time she ever got to come back was like, with one of them, and I'm like, you could have done a whole fucking series of this, you guys. Like,
So she was in a couple. I mean, she had a one-off where she returned, but she was in a finale, the finale with Donna, I think.
yeah, but she never came back after that.
No, not
Yeah.
after that.
She had her own show and it never crossed. I Well, we don't need to get into the spin-offs in
Yeah,
this
no,
day and age. Yeah, we
no.
don't need to discuss. Hopefully they'll cast those better, though, based on
Oh.
Jonathan Majors, maybe not. Okay. So they get to the bridge because the doctor manages to find a little scooter, which is
Oh, that was
amusing.
funny. Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of, we need to hurry the plot along. What can we
Yep.
do? I'm going to push a button and we're going to get a scooter.
There's a button in the floor that looks like another spot, like a million other spots in the floor, but this one just happens to reveal.
I know what this is. I don't
Yeah.
know their language, but this is universal design.
Yeah.
After you understand Cambodian flat math, you'll know about these symbols on the floor.
Cambodian flat math.
Cambodian?
Not
Okay.
Cambodian.
Well, I was giving Doctor Who some credit for,
For not just making fake stuff up.
yeah,
Yeah.
silly me. But we also have a moment where the Donna and the Doctor agree that Isaac Newton was smoking hot.
Yeah, that was funny.
And so that's actually when they discover the TARDIS has left them. Donna freaks out because she now has lost her way home to her family. We also, another thing to understand about the time machine is it's always approximate. It's never going to take you. I mean, that's how come we have whole seasons of this show, is because the TARDIS can't take you back to where it can't do the most simple, time travel.
So the explanation for that is, and this is 60 years of lore and world building. So forgive me if I'm not completely accurate, but there was a little thingamajig in the TARDIS that you could use to control exactly when and where you go. And he removed that at some point in his life on his time track. He removed that little thingamajig. And so, it's fun to just wind up in weird places. It's just fun to wind up to never know where you're going to land, except when you need to get Donna back to her family.
So basically, the Doctor is just a narcissist, is what you're saying. Okay.
I'm not saying that.
Okay. I mean, he's a narcissist or he's a sociopath. Zing. Okay. Moving on. So then they get to the bridge. They start looking around. Oh, they discuss whether or not David Tennant was. I don't know how to. So David Tennant's attracted, finds men attractive.
Found Isaac Newton attractive.
Found Isaac. Yes, it were very. Yeah, we got to split a lot of hairs here.
Yeah.
Once in the entirety of Doctor Who's 60 years, a male presenting doctor has found another man attractive. It just happened. But
Donna says, I've always thought, I was always on the fence about it.
Well, I did see something.
Even though he had a love affair with Rose Tyler, with River Song, which did Donna ever see River Song? No, I don't think so. Like he has.
Oh, I mean, the love affair with Rose was non-physical.
Well, until they went off back to another dimension.
Off screen, like.
Yeah.
Sorry, we just watched the Jumpin' Jack Flash last night where it's all about Whoopi Goldberg and the white guy who likes her. And yeah, they don't get to show much attention to each other.
Yeah.
Which is different with Doctor Who. Well, also because of Doctor Who, it's like, well, I'm a Time Lord. I'm not going to fuck around with some human.
But he also, the first Doctor has a granddaughter. I don't know how the physics of that work, assuming Time Lords are binary, male, female, females are impregnated. He's got a mother, I don't know.
Yeah, it's not as I mean, it's because they don't want to broach it or something.
But I wonder if, no, because Jodie Whittaker's doctor she was pretty asexual.
Yeah. Just yes. And then the River Song thing, we waited years for that. And how do they resolve it? They go off and fuck on a moon of Mars for 1 billion years before she dies, and nobody gets to see it, and he's never going to talk about it. It's just like barfaloogie. In addition to being bad, barfaloogie. Okay. But anyway, so we are now seeing the potential for the Doctor having feelings below the belt.
And it could be a nice transition to our forthcoming Doctor.
Yeah. And I'm very curious if the new Doctor gets to appear at the end of next time's special.
Yeah.
Okay. So they get to the bridge, they're looking around, they start doing fake science stuff that I know Emily loves. When we talk about fake science stuff, they're taking props from one drawer and putting them in another drawer. And
yes.
The Doctor, there's a funny bit where Donna asks if the slime is poisonous, so the Doctor licks it and then fakes dies on her. It's very funny.
It's very funny.
We're getting back their rapport really quickly, even though we will, by the end of the episode, discuss how they haven't really had time to reestablish their rapport. They're just falling back into it because they're TV characters, played by very charismatic actors. So then the Doctor goes to the other side of the bridge to work on the water system. Donna's working on the heat system. Yes.
Before we get there, when they are on the bridge, they discover where they are.
Oh, that's right. And does he learn the language?
He learns to read the language, so he can just basically establish where they are.
Yes.
He's reading it only. So this big shield comes up and it exposes a vast nothingness. Now, not nothingness like outer space nothingness like literally nothing. They are on the edge of the universe. They are farther than they have ever been before, than anybody has ever been before, which
really?
I don't know. I have questions about that, but I don't want to discuss it right now. But Donna has this, moment of ennui, like, oh my God, where's my family? Like, I'm never going to get back there. And the doctor points and says, some incredibly large number of light years away is where your family are. And then she establishes, like, Rose will be fine. She might come back and visit, like, on birthdays, but eventually she'll move on with her life. Sean will never move on. But Gramps will be there every day uh with a thermos and a sleeping bag, waiting for me to come back.
She doesn't worry about mom.
Doesn't worry about mom at all. No.
Not at all. We also might have forgotten the robot is slowly walking down that
Oh
corridor.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
this episode is like it's very limited, but it's like a locked room puzzle too. So like
Yeah.
that's kind of the thing about Doctor Who is it's a mix of like a quantum leap, we meet our celebrity in history, but it's also we don't have a lot of money this week, so we're gonna just do like a locked room mystery. Or other times, and these have been some of my favorite episodes, they'll do some giant set piece episode sort of set over a limited amount of time. So it'll be
Yeah.
on like a timer. So I remember one of the early David Tennants, he had to like drop through various lanes of traffic in a giant traffic jam. There was an episode with I think the Doctor and Donna where he's traveling on a train across a desert and she's got her own adventure because Donna got to have her own adventures. That was the big deal about Donna was she was the companion who got to have her own adventures.
Except in that adventure, she was just like lounging by a pool all day, and the doctor was on the train.
Yeah, because she didn't want to fucking go on the train because she was like, "That's stupid."
She's like, "I'm English. I'm going to sit by the pool and get pink."
So they're fixing up the ship. And then Donna's in charge of moving around the rectangles. And the doctor comes back in and starts having a very like soulful conversation with her. And seems a little off.
It seems a little subdued.
Very subdued.
Low energy.
Like
but he has a lovely little smirk on his face. He asks about Wilf and he's like, oh, I loved him.
Yes. And then we cut to the doctor in the other control room.
Ruh-roh. We recognize now that this doctor is somebody different.
Because we had forgotten to tell you, our good audience, that we were getting creepy tracking shots from the POV of something on the ship. We might have also gotten a shadow at this point, which also doesn't make any sense.
And when they're on the bridge again, back to that scene, there's no life forms on aboard the ship.
There's no life forms. He's able to see that. So even though we, the audience, have seen these creepy tracking shots, we don't know. So then Donna comes in to talk to the doctor. And this isn't where we get the really heartfelt scene. This is where we get the Donna copy basically bugging out and the doctor realizing there's something off about her. And then
but it's very subtle. It's very subtle.
And then Donna's doctor double, his arms are too long, which becomes a joke throughout the episode, but in this case it's because the thing has giant CGI arms.
And that's when she realizes that it's the wrong. Like, she doesn't get the subtleties, but it's only when he keeps repeating, my arms are too long, my arms are too long, my arms are too long, and then reveal to these giant forearms, that she gets it. And then does the doctor call to her, or does she call to the doctor?
The doctor calls to her, I think. But we also have Donna talking about how she's hungry, and the doctor replying, "Oh, we get hungry, do we?" Which, pin in that. So how do they get together? I mean, I can't.
The doctor just comes running.
The doctor comes running, and they start running from them.
Yeah.
And so then
and Donna also has long arms at this point.
Yes, too. At this point, the Donna double has one long arm that she's dragging.
Right.
And then they grow to enormous size. They become rodents of gigantic size. And this is the creepiest the episode actually ever gets, and they don't really dwell on it. So I wonder if somebody was just like, we're not actually gonna do deformed, soulless eyes on David Tennant and
Yeah.
Catherine Tate. But that's what they do for a second. But they're running down the hallway, and then the forms get so big they get clumped together in the hallway.
And they block the
And
whole thing off. It's like
yeah.
putty. I don't know.
And so the doctor stares upon the giant face and it's like, this is weird. The face coming back is weird. It being giant is weird. They talk about how there'll be coldness when we see it. Oh, okay. Donna talks to the doctor about Gallifrey. The fake Donna talks to the doctor about Gallifrey. So there's going to be a very subtle but important sort of doctor subplot here where the doctor isn't comfortable sharing because it's a character written for children in the 1960s. And so we have to tease out any character development,
Yeah.
which will probably get erased, which I will be complaining about in a little bit. Um, or we'll just reboot the universe or something. So then they talk about how they have their memories, and there's a line about Donna has a line about how her husband always has problems with the Venom movies
Yeah.
and how they change in the mass changes. And I'm sitting there going, wait, the Tom Hardy Venom movies? We're to a point in history where we're making a reference to the Tom Hardy Venom movies. That's kind of weird that those are popular enough for this. Okay. But then they are going to run up a ladder, but then the ship reconfigures itself and the robot moves and they get trapped behind the walls.
And Donna's screaming, screaming, doctor, doctor, because they get separated.
And
And
this
then,
leads to the next sequence of mistaken identity.
yeah.
So Donna and the doctor run into each other in a little room and they argue about who's who. Donna and the doctor run into each other in a different room and those two argue about who's who. Um, there's some funny stuff where like the doctor takes off his tie to show that his tie if they run into a doctor without a tie, they'll know that that's not him at least. And then he's like, well, wait, that doesn't make any sense either.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then Donna is like, the other doctor and Donna talk about where Donna's from. Or
And
no,
yeah.
that's right. No, the Thai doctor and Donna talk about where she's from. And
Yeah.
he doesn't actually know where she's from. The other Donna and the doctor talk about
Where
how the
he's from,
where
right?
he's from. And she's like, but you're not actually from Gallifrey. You don't know where you're from, which is a teeny, teeny, weensy bit of a subplot from the Flux season, right?
I mean, it's part of the flux.
It's part of the Flux.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. I blocked a lot of that
I
for some.
blocked a lot of it too because it was overly complicated and overwrought.
I was just going to say, and quite bad. Okay. So, but yes, basically throughout the Doctor Who series, not every showrunner has had a take on his origin, like retconning his origin, because they had initially needed to retcon it because they thought they had a limited number of doctors they could have.
Yeah.
And then they kept inserting other doctors. And finally, during last season, they're like, fuck you, there are a gazillion and 70 doctors. The doctors have been around since the beginning of time, since they were little boys fighting with the master in the playground. They knew each other's parents. They probably fucked when they were teenagers. We have no idea. There have been a billion doctors, including the black lady one that's pissing everybody off. Vote Brexit, whatever. And so now we get David Tennant having like a reaction to this. And this
Yeah.
gets into the character development problem with the Doctor, because this is how Doctor Who works, is you have a long, subtle character development arc through a season. sometimes involving the companion, sometimes involving his nemesis, the Master, but only after the Master reappeared. There's some resolution that should affect the Doctor going forward into the new season, except either the Doctor's different and they forget about it, or the companion's different and they forget about it, to the point that they brainwash Donna to get out of having to deal with some of this stuff.
I'm going to correct you slightly. When it changes doctors, it doesn't just go away. It doesn't disappear. It just becomes less prominent. Because generally speaking, in this new series, when we've had a new doctor, with the exception of David Tennant, we've had a new showrunner.
Yes.
And so the characteristics of the doctor, the personality of the doctor changes, but there's all that storyline is always there. It just falls to the back and maybe comes out a little bit in some weird subplots, like.
Sadly, the weird subplots are things like the lizard lady coming back, which is cool. Like, the lizard lady was fine, that the lizards who ran the UK government for a season, she'll come back and be like, you're a different doctor, but I still know you.
Yeah.
The Master will reincarnate as someone else, so we don't get a lot of crossover with the Master guest stars. Where this really comes into a problem is we had a whole fucking season about how the Doctor rehabilitated the latest Master's reincarnation, and it became a love story, and that had absolutely no effect on the Doctor whatsoever.
Mm-mm.
And it was just them like, I'm sorry, are you a female recurring guest star who gets an arc? Let me just chop you up, put you in this refrigerator, but stir you in with some shit too, because that's how Doctor Who does it. Justice for Michelle Gomez, justice for Missy. And so what we're getting here is acknowledging the existence of that in a way that means absolutely nothing to a new viewer. And for an old viewer, we're just kind of like, okay, Lucy, you're going to brainwash Donna next episode, aren't you? You aren't you? You just have to. Stephen Moffat's going to come in and be like, actually, no women have ever been the Doctor. Cancel culture.
That's ironic because Moffat created some really great female characters, including the initial River Song. River Song was great in that the first time we saw her.
With Tennant, right?
Yeah, she was really, really good. And I can't think of the other woman's name. She's a famous actress now. She's in Maestro, opposite Bradley Cooper. She had the episode. Carrie, what's her name?
Oh, yeah.
Her episode was really fantastic. Under Moffat, Neil Gaiman wrote the TARDIS character as the kooky female TARDIS.
Yeah.
Human TARDIS. It was very weird. So he created some really great female characters. So it's a goddamn shame that he treated Missy so poorly.
I mean, Chris Chibnall gave us a female doctor and treated her like shit. So, hey, they're British. They thought they ran the patriarchy, so they had to, do it. Anyway, so what happened then? Oh, so then they talk about everything that's happened in the last 15 years. Now, that's where the Matt Smith thing comes in, because he did fuck River Song on a moon of Mars for 1,000,006 years before she died. Just the two of them going at it. Just fucking, ooh, yeah. Oh.
Oh, I might actually be sick.
They could do a going to extremes where they're the mom and the son. Okay, so it's been 15 years for Donna. For the Doctor, it's been untold lifetimes, including like 2 soft reboots, going to the end of the universe, blowing up the universe, going to the beginning of time. So that's problematic, but it does give the character and David Tennant some gristle.
Yeah.
Now, I was a lot more bearish on this the first time I watched it because it's a bridging episode and they only have 3 of these. And I was like, you don't want to waste one of your 3. And I feel a lot less like that after watching it a second time. But there is this thing where it is just, this is what I said the problem with this was going to be going into this announcement. Not everybody's David Tennant, right? Like
Yeah.
the next Doctor, it's unlikely this actor's David Tennant, right? He might be David Tennant, back. Because, I mean, when you watch the first David Tennant episode, you're like, oh, I actually understand why this is popular.
Yeah.
Like, the second I saw the first David Tennant thing, I was like, oh, I get it. I mean,
Yeah.
like, after watching the Chris Eccleston season, but then the first special, I get whatever. It's better than I thought it was in 2005. Yeah, but still. Chris Eccleston's not a great actor. Even if you make hearts for him, he's not a very good actor. You and I are going to watch Jude next season. That's what we're going to watch.
Okay.
We'll do a Michael. We will do a Michael Winterbaum season. I will do a Michael Winterbaum season. Bring it on. Let's do it. That's exciting to me. I'm thrilled at the prospect, including the one where Angelina Jolie wears blackface.
Oh,
Let's
dear
do
God.
it. Okay, so the doctor realizes it's not. Why does he realize it's not Donna?
I don't remember. It's confusing because there are so many of these things.
Yeah, I mean, Donna realizes Thai doctor's not doctor because the doctor disappears from the floor.
The
Which
tie, the tie
the Thai
disappears from the floor.
disappears from the floor that he had taken off, and then he sticks his head under his legs, and
Is
they're
this
like,
is this where they're having a tender moment and Donna starts walking forward and
yeah, and she
melts and
collapsed. Yeah.
starts
So
laughing?
there's a line later on about how, like, oh, do you time the TARDIS to get out of these heart-to-heart conversation?
Yeah.
And it's like, no, the show times events to occur to get out of like character development,
Yeah.
folks. Like, it's it should be a gimmick, but it's not because it's how they do it. It's so weird. It's
Yeah.
just such a weird, like, they just, there's somebody over there who's just convinced there's a 13-year-old who's going to run the BBC someday, and they don't want to piss off that one white 13-year-old. Nigel Havers Dick the Sixth is going to run the BBC someday, and we don't want to like upset Nigel Havers Dick's the Sixth parents too much, so we're not going to bore them. Instead, we're going to have fucking rubber-faced monsters from 1973 because that's what they want to watch. Okay. But there's another chase scene. Then we get the four of them back together again. And here's where we get a very nice scene where the doctor's like, well, I know Donna. Donna's stupid. Or does she say she's stupid? Or did she say I'm not smart? No, she says it's stupid.
I think stupid or dumb.
And
Yeah.
this is like a knife in the heart of the problem of this character, right? Like, we are opening the refrigerator and looking upon the history of what we have done.
Yeah.
And then one of the Donnas is like, yeah. And the other one's, that's right, I am stupid. And then the doctor's like, ha, fuck you. Don only thinks she's stupid when she is stupid. The rest of the time, she knows she's fucking brilliant. And so we get the two of them together. And it's what's really cool about this, and what I didn't appreciate the first time either, was you get to watch the performances play off each other, where presumably what we're watching is we're watching good Donna, good Doctor versus stand-ins versus, and back and forth.
Yeah.
So they're so good together, they work up rapport in different ways, and it's like, it's really cool. So yeah. And so they figure out who Donna is. They go, oh, this is the next, what's this gonna, how's this gonna come back? The doctor's like, hey, by the way, in our universe, bad guys can't cross salt.
Oh,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
pulls out some salt and he puts it on the ground. He's like, you gotta count all that salt. And the first time I watched it, I was like, okay, so this is how we're gonna drag the episode.
But it resolves itself pretty quickly.
It resolves itself pretty quickly, but doesn't really make any sense how it resolves itself. It's just basically like Donna starts copying or starts counting the salt while the doctor argues with his double, and Donna realizes, Donna's the one who realizes that they are copying them so the TARDIS will pick them up when they get
Yeah.
back,
Yeah.
which is, a dig on the TARDIS being kind of stupid, which we can get to because the TARDIS dropped them off there and caused this entire problem. And it's like, does it want them to bond? Because they could have bonded over a throuple with Isaac Newton, who died a virgin. So that would have actually been like Van Gogh, only nicer. He could have had a threesome
Only
with Catherine Tate
I wouldn't have
and
fucking
David Tennant.
wept for my entire life over it.
Well, there you go.
Jesus Christ. That's the best thing about the Matt Smith. Sorry.
I mean, yes, but also low bar, but also high bar. Like it's one of the best. Is it the best moment on a time travel show? It
Maybe.
might be. Yeah.
Maybe.
So Evil Doctor is like, we heard your universe calling to us here in the darkness, and you guys are so shitty to each other. We want to go there and be shitty to everybody. And it's like, but you didn't know they got hungry.
I don't know if we established on the podcast what these creatures are. They are creatures of the nothingness that exists at the edge of the universe. So
yes,
they have no form until they take on the form of the Doctor and Donna in this instance. They have they have no world, they have nothing. They are nothing. And then they come to being by copying the Doctor and Donna. Sorry, I don't know if we covered that.
We did not at all. We're not doing a great job. We're assuming people have watched this.
Yeah, I know.
As opposed to going to extremes where the show is just, here's 77,000 reasons not to watch the show. Also, I had this whole thing this morning where I was like, oh, people who are hateful are just really stupid. Like, they're just too stupid to function in society because people don't like, well, I mean, if you hate stupid people, that would be a thing. But like, if you hate somebody for a reason that isn't true, that you're scared of, that just makes you fucking stupid. So anyway, sorry everyone, it's 2023. We need our escapism. Okay, so basically, Monster Donna figures out that there's the salt thing's bullshit. They have teeth now, and they're like, "Fuck you, we're gonna eat you. We're vampires from 30 Days a Night." They chase them down the hallway,
yeah,
into the bridge where we close a subdivide door. This is the second time in these specials we've had a subdivide door do the plot for us.
Yeah.
So
but it's using that Disney money, baby.
It's using that Disney money. Maybe it's the same door.
Maybe it's the same door. But I think it's a really cool thing because the whole episode has been so kind of bizarre with these copies that are like they're like the Doctor and Donna, but then there are moments where they're very empty. And so when you see them standing on opposite sides of this door, and it's David Tennant and Catherine Tate, but it's like it's just this really weird. It amps up the weirdness, I think, to see the copies now more fully formed.
Right.
They don't have the long arms. Their jaws aren't dropping to the ground. They are becoming more fully formed, and so you can't really see the difference.
And Donna again figures out that the reason they're scaring them, and they're like, why are they scaring us? They didn't have to scare us to copy us, did they? And it's like, yes, they actually did. They need our brains super wired to
we need to our heart needs to be racing, so our brains are working faster.
So Time Lord's brain chemistry is similar enough to humans that this works.
Yeah.
Just saying, he and Rose could have had kids. We could have had an obnoxious series like that. Just imagine. Okay. Emily liked those more than I did. Okay, anyway. They figure out, and then they're like, well, wait, we gotta not think. And then the doubles are like, the double doctor's like, but you love thinking. That's what this whole fucking show is about. It's about you running your mouth off and telling us what the plot is, Doctor.
Yeah, and
it's like, shit, it is.
And it's like, well, you have to think. Like, you're on a big empty ship. Why is it empty? Why did the escape hatch open and close 3 years ago? Why is the ship reshaping itself? What is that thunking noise you keep hearing? Like, and it makes the doctor go, crack, like very quickly he cracks.
And he's cracking opposite himself. And
Yes.
this is one of those things that I think modern audiences don't really understand. But before, I would say, the Parent Trap remake, all fake twin scenes had something god awful about them. Like the editing was off, something was
The
always
eye
off.
line was always
Yeah,
off.
the eye
Yeah.
line was off. It seriously was not until the Lindsay Lohan Parent Trap that introduced the idea of like CGI composites and I don't know, somebody the same height um for doing this.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so they do a really good job with it and it's a great scene. So,
We were
this
talking
is
about the
where
double. Yeah.
yes, we're talking about the double. And so it's just a really good David Tennant scene. And this is
Mm-hmm.
again some of what the problem is going to be. And also, I mean, Catherine Tate's really good this episode too, but she got to kick ass last episode, right? She
Yeah.
got to do um
Doctor
she,
stuff. She
she
got to
got
be
to
the
do doctor
she
stuff.
got
She
to
also
be
got
the
to,
Dr. Donna again.
and she got to establish herself as a mom and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, but this episode has really been about Tennant, which brings back that problem of he's leaving after next episode. He doesn't matter in a lot of ways. It's very weird. It's like he matters for the person who's going to binge 172 episodes. That's who this is for. The person who's going to binge 172 episodes. When it's like, when I think about wanting to binge something, I'm like, I can't make it through a fucking season of something. Like, because, well, honestly, because Emily makes me watch going to extremes. But other than that, it's hard to find time, but this is for the people who put in the 172 hours
Yeah.
going forward.
Yeah.
Okay. Somebody's really sure this is going to pay off on Disney Plus. Like
Good.
well, also Doctor Who is everywhere right now.
Yeah.
So I don't know if the new series is, but the original series is streaming for free on Tubi. It's streaming for free on Pluto. It's probably on Prime.
It's
They're
on
just they're
it's on BritBox, so you have to subscribe to the extra
Okay, so
on Prime.
that would get it for you without commercials, but on
Yeah.
Tubi and Pluto, you get it commercial supported because they're 30-minute episodes. So they're just dumping it. It's very interesting that they're dumping the old stuff because anyway. Um, but the new stuff is on Disney Plus, I think. So they're assuming that somebody's going to marathon that. But yes, so then they're like, well, what's this clanging noise that we established 5 minutes in but haven't done anything with yet? We'll open up the skylight and find out it's the captain of the ship caught in the gravity field for eternity. The skeletized, decayed corpse of the captain bumping into the ship for eternity.
Yeah.
Creepy as fuck.
Creepy as fuck.
And then they're like, wait a second. The captain went out and didn't come back in. So the captain's the one who, oh, we forgot there's an airlock mystery. So literal locker
Yeah.
room mystery.
Yeah.
The captain's the one who went out. Why'd the captain kill themselves? What are they doing? Then they were like, wait a second. The evil nothings don't know what the captain was doing either. They want us to figure it out. This point's the point where I'm like, if the TARDIS had just left them alone, this would have been fine.
Yeah.
We find out that the captain basically set a very slow self-destruct. The TARDIS, in its infinite wisdom, dropped the Doctor and Donna off in the last 10 seconds, which at this slower pace is taking 50 minutes.
Roughly.
Roughly. We have this scene where evil Doctor and Donna are trying to get out because they now have the full brain capacity of the Doctor and Donna. So they're like doing all their buttons and fiddles.
Yeah.
And then
It's weird though that in a later scene that we'll get to, the doctor starts running on all fours.
yes, so the Doctor double is able to return to his
He's like a shapeshifter almost.
yes.
Like he's still the doctor, but he looks like a horse running on all fours. It's very strange.
they don't really dwell on that, and
Right.
that's kind of good because it goes absolutely nowhere.
Yeah.
The
It's
chase
just
scene is
it's
very
just that he can run faster
yeah,
that way. Like,
but it doesn't actually affect the plot.
yeah.
That's again, but yeah, so they delay them a little bit down to 2 or 3 seconds, and then the 2 or 3 seconds go very fast as well, but that's because the doctor turns up the speed. He's like, Donna, you know how I said I was going to get you home to your kid, and I promised you weren't going to fucking come out with me and die? You're going to fucking die. We're going to die, but we're going to stop these fuckers from making it to the known universe. And she's
And
like,
wreaking havoc. Yeah.
well, shit, of course. So they get into a chase scene. The robot is going to turn on the self destruct, but since it's a robot, they can't read its thoughts because it doesn't have any. They could have spent their time learning how to
Use the ship.
read commands or something, but they didn't. We don't know what they've been doing the last 3 years. They've been doing nothing. Um, okay, so then Donna chases Donna. Donna has a nice punch out with evil Donna where she's like, this is very therapeutic. And it's like, yeah. They should have had a line about how did you give away all that money?
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. So then they get there. They're like, oh shit. This is where it makes no sense. The horse doctor runs ahead. We don't ever see him interact with the robot. They're like, you actually, Disney only gave us so much money. That was going to be like 35 grand. We don't have that money.
Yeah.
And then regular doctor's like, oh, the TARDIS would have dropped us off knowing because it's a time machine that everything was going to be okay. And it's just like, the fuck are you talking about? That doesn't make any sense. But the TARDIS appears, he jumps in, he goes to save Donna,
pushing it like a skateboard across
pushing it
this.
like a skateboard.
It was very weird.
Back to the Future 2, right there, or 1, whichever one. And then he's like, okay, the Donnas are fighting. He's like, Donna, what's funny about Mrs. Bean?
There was a conversation about her music teacher, Mrs. Bean, whatever.
And Wild Blue Yonder.
And Wild Blue Yonder.
Like, yeah. It's really, that one I feel like got cut because they were like, Disney Plus was like, no Americans give a shit about this. Hurry it up.
Yeah.
What was funny about her, it's the name of a woman given to a vegetable given to a woman.
Yeah.
And then he takes the other one. So we get the explosions. We get Donna going, fuck, it's me. He left the real me.
Let's just note that the ship is big enough and the explosion is slow enough that it's not going to reach Donna. There is peril.
It blew up the regular doctor. It blew up Horse Doctor. We see him get disintegrated.
But I'm still not concerned that I'm concerned that Donna's left behind, but I know
there's time.
There's time.
They're not actually, they're gonna do this next episode. They're not gonna kill her in the middle episode. They could have.
What I am concerned about is that the copy of Donna is on the TARDIS, yes. And her facial expression changes, and you can tell she's like evil Donna. The doctor does not seem to notice that, but then the way he does identify that it's the fake Donna is that her wrist is 0.06 millimeters too long or something.
And it's unclear how he noticed that.
Yeah. But he doesn't pay attention to her reaction to getting in the TARDIS.
Nope.
I don't know. I found that
it's goofy. Very weird because he's like trying to trap her.
Yeah.
It's like for nothing.
Yeah.
But part of the new TARDIS is he can turn the platform into a ramp and dump her out when he picks up the other Donna. And they get away. They have a very tender embrace that we presumably would not have seen from a doctor who is not in touch with his feminine side. And then he's like, by the way, your evil clone who wanted to eat us She had all of my memories from the last 15 years. It made her really easy to talk to. Do you happen to have all my memories from the last 15 years? And Human Donna's like, I do not. And she's like, is that a problem? And he's like, I mean, it's not a problem, but we're not going to talk anymore about this scene. We're here. And she's like, did you time that? And he's
Yeah.
like, I don't know. Have you been watching the show? So then the door opens and Emily.
As predicted, tried and true, Wilf is waiting for Donna in a wheelchair. Oh, I know he was an old man. Bernard
Oh my
Cribbins.
God, Emily.
I know he was an old man, but seeing him there, little old man, so happy to see Donna, gave her a big hug, and so happy to see the doctor.
And so I do not have Emily's profound and deep attachment to Will. However, I will say my wife's got it too.
Okay.
Meanwhile, I'm just like, it's the asshole from Faulty Towers. That's a bad customer.
So
What
you see, you don't watch Faulty Towers and life is better.
Wow. I mean, I certainly would not recommend anybody watch Faulty Towers starting in 2023. Um, sorry, folks. John Cleese is a piece of shit. Okay, so but there is this moment where Wilf, and again, you need to watch 172 episodes to give a shit about this. The way he looks at the doctor, and he just, because the doctor for Wilf symbolizes the reality of the fantastic. Like
Yeah.
when we met Wilf, he didn't know about this amazing world out there, and then he discovered it was real.
But he
And
was
so,
always interested
yes.
in the night sky and he believed in aliens. And this is a like they call back to it in the first
Mhm.
special where Donna's like, he used to talk about little green men and da 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 da. Now he doesn't talk about it anymore. And but also the doctor is Donna's protector because Donna's dad has passed away and the doctor has proven that he would do anything, risk anything to protect Donna, including brainwashing her so she doesn't die.
Which is better than he's treated some of his own. And subsequent ones. Let's not forget that. Speaking of character development that doesn't carry between doctors or showrunners, the doctor, David Tennant's doctor, cared a lot more about the outcomes for his companions than anybody else did going forward.
Yeah.
It seemed very much like Peter Capaldi was going to be different, but then he ran into the realities of the Doctor Who show, basically. It's that you don't get to do that. Um, and then they're like, wait, where's Rose? And Wilf's like, so they're bunkered down to be. Does she say where's Sean and Rose? Or
Where's my
like,
where's the
my family?
family or
She doesn't say where's everybody but Mom.
yeah.
Hashtag haven't forgiven her quite yet. Uh, but he's like, well, they're bunkered down. And they're like, oh, that's a weird way of phrasing a sentence, to which an explosion goes off. Now, we didn't mention this last episode, but there are some designs on the wall that look very much like Cybermen.
Yeah, there's an establishment called the Cyber Dog or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna play
So
into something, I'm sure.
where is this? When are those coming to life? And
Yeah.
not yet. Instead, there are explosions. The whole world has gone mad, and apparently,
People are coming out of shops and they're fist fighting and throwing stuff at each other, and yeah,
and the
it's a
doctor's
nightmare.
got to save us.
Yeah.
Now, we forgot to mention that right before they land, he asks her about the whether or not she remembers his last 15, she remembers the previous 15 seasons. He's like, I feel like I shouldn't have told them about the salt thing. And she's like, why? And he's like,
Yeah.
well, because the way magic works, if I say something like that at the edge of the universe, it's going to actually come back in the plot. It's really weird. Maybe I'll whisper Bad Wolf out there and we'll see what happens. So, is this, and you know, it's the toy maker, what a celestial
Celestial
toy.
toy maker,
I
yeah.
don't think I know anything about. But it could be that. It could be Mavity has gone crazy. Like, so we'll find out Saturday night, and presumably that'll be the end of the Dr. Donna. I Are they doing a Christmas special too?
Yes. I don't know when it's coming out, but yes, they are. It's
I
going to be the first episode
Is it
for the new
okay?
Doctor.
Is it going to be the first episode for the new Doctor, in that it's going to be the first episode for the new Doctor, or is it going to be David Tennant's last episode, and it's going to be the first episode for the new Doctor?
I think it's going to be the first episode for the new Doctor.
Okay,
I don't know for
because
sure.
the handoffs have been a little bit. They've done them different ways throughout the years. Like the most abrupt one was Christopher Eccleston, who was like, "I fucking quit," and they need to figure shit out. But they've
Yeah.
like done they haven't done quite the bait and switch that they did with this one, but
Yeah.
they've done comparables. Let's see what the special is.
Called The Giggle.
Is that the Christmas special?
No.
Okay,
Sorry,
so
The Giggle's the one we'll be watching this week.
yes.
I don't
So
know if the Christmas special has a title yet.
yes, the church on Ruby Road.
Okay.
And so from the description, it sounds as though we will meet the new companion and the new doctor. Oh, good. It's a white girl and a black guy. I'm sure the British public will be fine with that. Okay.
I will.
So will next episode conclude the Dr. Donna subplot? We've got a lot to do. Will we get to see Rose and Sean as companions? Will we get to put Donna back in her refrigerator and have to go back to watching Going to Extremes, which will probably lead to me writing a letter to Paul, or what's the name of the producer? Davies.
Russell T Davies.
If he fucks us over, I'm going to write a letter. I'm going to be like, you need to watch Going to Extremes, you piece of human refuse.
You need to remake this shit.
Yes. You need to remake Going to Extremes line for line this year and be like, I stand by this.
Yeah.
And it can't be a bit about how that's basically what Graham Lynham would be doing if he
Oh
if
dear
he had
God.
$75 to put together, if he could afford an iPhone anymore.
I'm excited about next week.
Yes.
I'm very excited about wrapping up the subplot and hoping that Donna lives and thrives. I'm also hesitant though, because I hate Neil Patrick Harris. I said it.
I didn't know Neil Patrick Harris was in it.
I hate him. Hate him.
I have no experience with him outside of Harold and Kumar in his old man thing. And he was fine in that, but I find it interesting that he has weathered, considering how well nobody really got re-examined for their anyway. He had a problematic comeback. His start of his comeback has never been addressed. So
you'll have to tell me more about that.
it's Joss Whedon, right? He came back because of Joss Whedon.
Was it?
Didn't he? I think so. I think Joss Whedon brought him back.
Wasn't he back before that with the How I Met Your Mother?
I thought that was after Joss Whedon.
I don't know. Whatever. I fucking hate him.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I'm not excited for him, but I am excited to see how they kill him.
okay. Well, I liked him in Matrix 4 well. I mean, he was fine. He was
I have a very serious issue also on top of my dislike for him. I have a very serious issue with American actors going on to a British property like that.
Well,
we saw it with Toast when John Hamm came on, completely ruined the Brian Blessed thing for me. And I love Brian Blessed more than anything. I can't handle when American celebrities it's like, oh, I get it. I hate it.
Also not forget that
it's an American show now.
Actors have a really bad track record on Doctor Who. I think it was during the Jodie Whittaker, credibly accused rapist Chris Noth guest starred.
That's right. And
he was fucking terrible.
That's right.
He was god awful on that show. So
I forgot about him.
Yeah. And that was during the period where I would have been happy to see Chris Noth on something. other than an obit. But oh, was that out loud? Sorry. But yeah, he was awful. And it's just
No.
like because British and American TV directors are apparently very different. And also apparently you're only willing to do so much for that BBC money. So yeah, that's not a good track record with American guest stars. And he might be like the only one. Like it's there is not a lot of crossover from the pond for who appearances.
No, and
Um,
and sometimes it's hard to tell when somebody's actually English or British or Welsh or whatever, or they're just doing bad accents.
right.
Um,
Oh, well,
because Captain Jack, the first time I saw him, I was like, oh my God, that is a British actor doing a terrible American accent. Nope, that's just how John Barrowman does
yeah.
when
Oh, you
he's
wanted to
not
talk
when he's
about
not
John Barrowman?
speaking with a thick Scottish brogue. Um, and
John
there was
Barrowman?
somebody else.
Who's John
Yeah, I
Barrowman?
don't know. There's somebody else. The episode with the like alien museum underground. There's like some really rich guy, and all of the people speak with American accents, and they're all terrible. So sometimes that also
It's
weirds
very,
me out.
yeah, it's,
But I'm just not excited. I don't like it. I don't
and
like it.
he's the celestial toy maker.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Emily's dreading Neil Patrick Harris, and I am dreading them chopping Donna's head off and oh, maybe they'll chop off Rose's head too, and Sean's. They'll just kill the whole fucking family and put them in a fridge. And,
Aw.
yeah, because they could.
They could.
They
Well,
could.
we will find out tomorrow, folks.
And
Uh,
you will hear what we have to say about it, not tomorrow, though.
Not tomorrow. Thank you for joining us for this extra special episode of Onesies where we watched the Doctor Who specials. Next week, join us when we watch The Giggle. Please watch it and please spoil it and come back and listen to our very thoughtful insights.
Or us to bitch about something.
Or me bitching about Neil Patrick Harris. I don't
Bitching
know.
about Neil Patrick. Oh, you're going to be in tears over Wilf. You're not gonna see me. And
We're not going to see Welf again. We're not going to see Wilf again.
what are you talking about? He's in the next episode.
Okay. See you in television land, everybody.
See you in television.